from around the world to join us today. I welcome you all to this special edition of Innovation and Excellence. Indeed, your presence here today truly strengthens our resolve to foster and promote strategic relations with our partners and friends while encouraging technological growth and knowledge sharing. Distinguished guests, since our government formed, our unity government formed in April this year, the coalition government has been engaged in efforts to bring the country out of various challenges. The most serious among these crises that has expended most of our time and energy is the stabilization of our economy. We inherited an economic catastrophe where Pakistan was on the precipice of a default, and shukr alhamdulillah, by the grace of God and the efforts of the unity government and the Prime Minister's financial team, Pakistan was saved from the brink of an economic crisis we have yet to witness in our history. The most unfortunate aspect of this economic crisis was, in addition to the economic impacts of the COVID pandemic that affects each and every nation across the world and has caused economic difficulties for citizens everywhere. In addition to the economic impact of the conflict, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the risk of economic default in Pakistan was not only exacerbated by these factors, but a direct result of conscious decision-making. This was effectively a collective shooting oneself in the foot. And it is something that we must all agree should never happen again in the course of our governments come and go, political parties change, but we should never compromise the fundamentals of our national economic policy. At this time, we've been focused on making service delivery efficient and people-centered, fixing Pakistan's energy woes, rebuilding Pakistan's foreign relations, and giving a sense of stability in our policy, if not political environment. As far as foreign policy is concerned, I'm happy to report, as a result of our teamwork and extensive positive engagement across the board, Pakistan's diplomatic relations, diplomatic ties have gone from strength to strength. Over the past 6 months, we've witnessed a positive trajectory of our diplomatic relations, be it with the East, the Middle East, the West, or the rest of the world, culminating in our exit from the FATF grey list, the Financial Action Task Force, and on our way, hopefully, for the restoration of our GSP Plus status. Just when this looming economic crisis was averted and things started to move in a positive direction, we experienced the worst ever climate catastrophe that Pakistan has ever seen. The monster monsoon on steroids, as Secretary General Antonio Guterres put it, resulted in 1/3 of the landmass of our country being underwater. 1 in 7 people affected, that's 33 million people of Pakistan, 16 million of which are children, 600,000 women waiting to give birth. The impacts of this on the backbone of our economy, the agricultural sector, have been devastating. The Total loss and damage is estimated at more than $32 billion, which is 10% of Pakistan's GDP. This climate event will directly correlate with a significant portion of our population being thrust below the poverty line. Given the massive scale of destruction, we have been pushed back for decades, but in every crisis there is an opportunity. And we can convert this crisis into an opportunity if Pakistan commits to not only investing in these less developed areas, in these rural areas that have been devastated by the flooding, but also as we look towards reconstruction and rehabilitation. We hope to do so in a climate resilient manner. We too share the aspiration to not only build back, but build back better. Including the recently concluded COP27, we have underlined the need for concentrated global action to take climate change as a priority. As the chair of the G77 plus China, we have led the demands of the Global South for climate finance and climate justice to enable developing countries to cope with climate adaptation and mitigation challenges. But in addition to that, we have, alhamdulillah, been successful, and this is a success not only of the developing world that has long held this demand, but of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan, that following the devastation from this climate catastrophe, in our capacity as G77 chair, we have successfully negotiated to add on to the COP27 agenda, in addition to mitigation and adaptation, but the concept of loss and damage. Because it was only after we in Pakistan experienced the devastation of these floods that have resulted in a 10% loss to our GDP, that it became evident to us that there was no international financing mechanism for devastation, for loss and damage of this scale. And it was after our own experience that we joined the many countries that have long been demanding that loss and damage be added to the COP and global agenda. And we hope, if it was too late for the people of Pakistan to benefit the lack of such an institution, that the next country, the next developing country to be affected, will be able to benefit from an internationally agreed upon mechanism for financing loss and damage. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind about the potential of climate change to reverse all endeavors for sustainable development goals. Climate change is one of the most national security threats that can ignite and deepen conflicts. And as we have witnessed, Pakistan is now ground zero for climate-induced disasters and must prepare for the challenges associated. Ladies and gentlemen, today the increasingly complex security environment poses multifaceted threats to national security and stability of the countries. With rapid advancement in technologies and proliferation of related knowledge, we are experiencing a visible change in the established security paradigm. In today's globalized world, the national security has emerged as a dynamic concept that is as much economic, political, social, and institutional as it is military and strategic in nature. In an age of fake news and disinformation, the threats to national security have increased manifold. The specter of rising global food and energy prices is putting immense strain on national cohesion and unity, thus deepening internal fault lines. It is our considered opinion that the best way to safeguard and strengthen national security is to achieve economic self-reliance, rebuild and strengthen political institutions, deliver the 21st century governance that is demanded and required, ensure rule of law, and put the people at the center of public policy. This requires a much needed reset in our thinking, as well as the way we conduct the business of the state. Internal consolidation can alone enable our nation to secure its core economic, foreign policy, and security interests. And in order to do so, each institution must function within not only their constitutional domain, but with a primary focus on their objective, on their national goal. For example, I am a politician, I am a parliamentarian, and I represent my constituency in Parliament. My job is to be answerable to Parliament, to be present in Parliament, and rather than lashing it out with my political opponents on the streets or in the public arena, we have created this forum where all people of Pakistan can be represented, where our exchange of ideas, our debate should lead to the addressing of issues of national importance through consensus, so we can move beyond our consistent state of flux and focus on the priorities of our nation. Distinguished audiences, the new technologies led by this revolution in the field of artificial intelligence are playing a vital role in confronting various security challenges. In my view, the responsible use of technology advancement can make the world a better and safer place. Pakistan, being a responsible state, is always committed to play its role for international peace, stability, and order. Reciprocity, mutual interests, and international norms are the guiding principles that govern Pakistan's relations and the bilateral and multilateral levels. In the regional context, the transformation of South Asian geostrategic environment has further accentuated the importance of this region in world affairs. Resultantly, regional cooperation and active engagement of regional and global players has become imperative, particularly to achieve regional peace, security, and social economic development. On the other hand, instability and turmoil that has beset our region for many decades also needs a firm and coordinated response by all stakeholders. We believe in meaningful dialogue on the basis of equality, not only to resolve bilateral issues, but also to unpack the immense economic potential of our region. It is here that the peaceful resolution of the long-standing occupied Jammu and Kashmir issue is, in light of the UN resolutions and aspirations of the Kashmiris, is central to establishment of sustainable peace in South Asia. Distinguished guests, it is heartening to note that Pakistan's defense industry has now achieved a good level of quality and reliability, wherein its products are comfortably competing in the international defense market. Though Pakistan is now exporting some high-tech defense products to more than 60 countries, yet the volume of exports, in my opinion, is not commensurate to our actual and true potential. A crucial factor in this context has been the limited involvement of the private sector in defense production and export activities. In addition, relatively less attention has been paid to academia industry interface and in the involvement of R&D organizations, which has curtailed the competitiveness of certain sectors of this industry. In order to achieve this objective, I will stress upon the integration of public-private defense industry to achieve maximum results. New ideas and the entrepreneurial and management skills of the private sector need to be co-opted with public sector defense industry. The potential of academia and R&D organizations needs to be incorporated with the defense industry for more efficiency as well as volume to our defense production exports. Our government, ladies and gentlemen, will continue to promote a business-friendly environment for investments in human capital and professional development in the demand-driven industry. The unity government is also committed to deliver an industrial strategy that contributes to growth and employment and encourages small and medium enterprises to come forward and join hands for the development of our defense industry. In this regard, I look forward to the Ministry of Defence Production's formulation of a clear policy framework to integrate the whole potential of Pakistan's defence industry. Distinguished guests, when we talk about the defence industry, International Defence Exhibition and Seminar is an iconic platform for showcasing the latest defence technologies and innovations. In fact, Ideas is a regional gateway for international manufacturers and suppliers to explore new avenues of defense cooperation through joint ventures, outsourcing, and collaborations. On the other hand, the presence of a large number of foreign exhibitors and delegates reflects Pakistan's deeply embedded and mutually beneficial relations with the international fraternity. I would say that Ideas is a shared vision for global peace, stability, and harmony amongst the community of nations. And the Ideas slogan, Arms for Peace, truly reflects Pakistan's principled stance in this regard. Ladies and gentlemen, before I wind up, allow me to appreciate the efforts of the Ministry of Defence Production, Defence Export Promotion Organisation for successfully holding a series of ideas to exhibit the best of Pakistan's defence sector and promoting international cooperation in the field of defence production. I applaud the continuous support of the federal and provincial ministers, the Pakistan Armed Forces, law enforcement agencies, and the government of Sindh for the successful conduct of this mega event. I am also very pleased to know that the Pakistan Postal Services has issued a commemorative postage stamp to complement the holding of this very special edition of Ideas 2022 in the 75th year of the independence of Pakistan, and I am positive that this landmark event will achieve more progress in the years to come. I thank you all. Pakistan Zindabad.
बैनुल-अक़वामी दिफ़ाई नुमाइश आइडियाज़ 2022 वज़ीर ख़ारजा बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी तकरीब से ख़िताब कर रहे थे। उनकी जानिब से कहा गया कि बैनुल-अक़वामी नुमाइश से ख़िताब मेरे लिए एज़ाज़ की बात है। इत्तेहादी हुकूमत बहुत से चैलेंजेस से नबर्दाज़मा है। गुज़िश्ता 6 माह में हमारे ये सफ़ारती ताल्लुकात दुनिया से बेहतर हुए हैं। मुल्क की माशी पॉलिसी में हमेशा इस्तेहकाम रहना चाहिए।